So Vince Lombardi is credited for saying, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Personally, I would beg to differ with that on a number of levels, but here's what I know for sure. Vince Lombardi didn't play in the NBA during the Golden State era. To say the Warriors have been smothering is an understatement. They have won 3 of the last 4 titles, can throw out a starting unit of 5 All-Stars, plus feature the greatest shooter of all time, and that was before he got contact lenses. So while yes, absolutely, there are other teams that could maybe possibly win the title this year, let's face it, the Warriors are still the overwhelming favorite, which means that in a league of nearly 500 players, all but 15 of them need to reconcile themselves that winning may not, in fact, be the only thing. Maybe that is why, as this NBA regular season is drawing its last final breaths, we are seeing such a strong attempt to manipulate the playoff bracket, with the idea, I guess, that if being the last team standing doesn't seem to be a super likely option, you at least want to be standing as long as possible? And with that, let's go to Portland, shall we? Where you'd think that last night the Nuggets would be trying to beat the Blazers because, well, I mean, it is a basketball game after all. Instead, here's what Denver did. Denver sat its best player, Nikola Jokic. Denver sat Jamal Murray. Denver sat Paul Millsap. That's 2/3 of its starting lineup, and I guess that could be for rest, as the team talked about. Let's talk about the team's other 2 regular starters, Gary Harris and Will Barton. They did suit up, but they weren't allowed to play in the 4th quarter. The Nuggets actually had a 7-point lead in this game with 4:30 to play, and Coach Mike Malone still wouldn't put Harris or Barton in to help seal the win. As a result, the Nuggets did in fact cough up the game, which I gotta say at least seems like it was the intention. Why, you may ask? Well, here are the standings as of today. Look, the Rockets, they're in 3rd right now. But by propping up Portland, Denver helped the Blazers keep hope alive of moving up to number 3, which of course would kick Houston down to the number 4 spot, and that would keep the Nuggets from having to see Houston in the 2nd round. Denver did just lose to the Rockets by nearly 30 the other day, so I can see why the Nuggets would be feeling a little shell-shocked. It's not a good matchup for them. But make no mistake, this is a risky game Denver is playing. The Rockets still control their own ability to stay out of the 4 seed, no matter what Portland or Denver does. So yeah, Houston could drop to number 4, but now, thanks to Denver, let's call it, I don't know, let's just say not really going for it in Portland last night, now Houston also has the chance to grab the number 2 seed if events of the next couple nights fall their way. Which means Denver could not only have that unfavorable matchup still in the 2nd round, it would not have home court in that round either. And that assumes Denver even gets to the 2nd round, since if the Nuggets do drop from 2 to 3, they will be facing a higher seed in the 1st round. Look, I get it. The Nuggets didn't even make the playoffs last year. Getting to the conference finals, that would be quite the story. So, of course, I understand the instinct to try to stack the deck in favor of that. The problem is that while winning may not be the only thing, it is generally a good thing in pro sports. And by effectively trying to lose last night, the Nuggets are tempting the basketball gods. Something even Vince Lombardi would tell you is dangerous. Byron, there is a lot to play for, seeding-wise. What do you think? How much of attention did you give it as a player, who you were going to play, and how the bracket would look like as you were doing your last final games of the season?
I gave it a lot of attention because you know as a player, you know the teams that you have a lot of success against and you know the teams that you struggle against. So if you know that you have a chance to meet them in the playoffs, you know that you're going to have, being it, you know, like I just said, if I struggled against them, I know this is going to be a tough series. And we could struggle against them as a team as well. You know, I'm not just talking about from an individual standpoint.
Right.
So you're right. Denver is really testing their faith right here. You know, they're messing with fire because, again, if Houston gets up to that 2 spot and takes home court advantage away from Denver, meet them in the 2nd round, I don't think Denver can beat them if they're the home team anyway, to be honest with you. I think that's going to be a tough matchup, and I don't think they want to face them in the 2nd round. So this is going to be, you know, I know they're hoping that Houston drops to that 4th spot, so Houston has to play Golden State in the 2nd round instead. But, man, to me, you just go out and try to win every game right now when you can to get that momentum going into the playoffs.
I am reminded of the 2006 Clippers, who dropped all the way to the 6 so they could play Denver at the 3. Back in the days when you won your champion, if you won your division, you would automatically get there, and it actually took very good results. They beat Denver in that 3-6 matchup. I mean, I'm not sure. Are we entirely sure this is what Denver's doing? Because here's one thing.
No, I said at the top, they came out, they said all the things you're supposed to say. We wanted to give our guys some rest. I didn't put those guys back in the end of the game because the bench guys were playing so well.
Let me tell you about my nightmare is watching, like, Marcus Smart be taken back to the locker room in a meaningless game yesterday against Orlando, meaningless at least to the Celtics, not to Orlando. Jason Tatum, shin contusion. There was a moment yesterday morning in the Toronto-Miami game. It was morning. It was an early game where Danny Green looked like he might have tweaked an ankle late. And so, in some respects, I wonder if putting guys in bubble wrap. Irrespective, would you rather have your health or your seeding, I guess is my question.
Well, Byron, I mean, look, you just said, hey, I'm not sure they could beat Houston in that potential second-round matchup anyway. If you really think that no matter what, home court or not, you're not beating that team, there's something to be said for trying to prop up Portland to try to get them in that third seed, to at least try to play them in the second round, again, if everything falls that way, and push Houston to 4. I think the Nuggets should at least prioritize home court for as long as they can, for as far as they can, regardless over who they're going to play. Only in that, like, Denver is a real home court advantage.
Right.
Not every arena in this league is a true home court advantage. Denver is, but maybe if you don't think it matters one way or the other, you're just trying to, like, yay, Blazers. You're just trying to get them up there.
Yeah, for Denver it matters. I mean, like you said, all season long they've been a great home team. But Kevin, to your point, Boston's game didn't matter. They pretty much solidified that fourth. This game mattered. Denver-Portland, that game mattered. And just like Rachel was talking about, for Denver especially to try to keep that 2 seed, it matters. So to me, you're trying to keep that position. You try to win these games no matter what. And you can't think about what's going to happen tomorrow. You can't think about injuries and all that stuff. And I get that, they do happen. But at this particular point, let's try to secure that 2 spot to the best of our ability. Let's play our guys. And then, hey, when it's all said and done, if we have the 2 spot, let's go for it.